Hello, hello. Thank you for being here today. Our tool today is so basic and like such a standard practice for me and a standard energetic practice that I can't believe we haven't done it yet. So we're going to do it today. And I think for many of you, this is not going to be new. For some of you, it will be new. And it might be like, oh, yeah, I've done that, or I used to do that and I have forgotten, or I just don't do it anymore. So that's great. This is a little reminder. And I hope this is helpful in the times that you're feeling like you're kind of flying away. So get yourself comfortable. This is a visualization. We try all these different things. The somatic touching, the language, mantra, word, and then visualization. So there are all these different ways that we can access and soothe the nervous system. So just let yourself settle in, however that is, in whatever physical place, physical position you feel most at ease, most comfortable. And let your weight really settle into your imprint. Even if you get a little bit lumpy, like kind of slumpy, like really let gravity have your body yield so that you're not at that edge of ready to spring up and take action. You're just like, no, I'm just going to settle right here. And notice what happens to your breath. Notice what happens to the skin around your eyes and your mouth. And then if you do feel like, well, I'm really slumped over, then you can find from the roots of you, from your deep roots, find a little bit of uplift through your core, through your apple core. Just gentle, very, very gentle. It doesn't have to be much. This is not military meditation. So there's a sense of connectedness and there's a sense of uplift. There's also expansive softness, surrounded by loving presence and softness. This is a visualization of your grounding cord. And there are many different ways to come into this visualization and use this practice. So if the way we go through it right now is a little different than a way you've done it in the past, totally fine. It's all correct. And you can work with what suits you best. So sometimes grounding cords will come down through the feet, sometimes through the tail, sometimes through the very center, like pelvic floor, perineum area. And you can just feel into what is speaking to you this morning. I'm going to talk about base of pelvis. And so you could kind of translate that as tail or pelvic floor. And then we're going to come up and even do it a little higher and wider. But we're going to start at the base. So if you're seated, it's kind of right at the center of your seat over the ground, over the floor. And as this is a visualization, it's effortless. You don't have to try to make anything happen. you can begin to imagine that from you, as an extension of you, like an umbilical cord, a downward cord that effortlessly goes down. You could be on the 16th floor of a building and it effortlessly goes down, down, down through the floors, through the foundation, into the ground. And without any resistance or effort, it travels all the way down. So imagine it in your mind's eye, traveling down into the earth. Eventually, this cord, this energetic cord, finds itself all the way in the center of that hot lava core, Earth's core. And we're going to imagine this long, infinitely long cord wrapping around an anchor at the center of the earth. Wrapping, you can tie a knot, you can wrap it 1,000 times around an anchor in the center of the earth so that it is 1,000% secure. And then we'll just work with this visualization in a few ways. As you connect with this imaginary cord, you see it in your mind's eye, just notice what kind of cord came up. Like what fabric, what quality is it? How big in diameter is it? What color is it? And you can change any of those things. You don't have to stick with what first came to mind. So if you realize like, oh, well, that's kind of a thin cord, you might want to make it bigger. You might want to make it thicker in diameter. Or you might just say, oh, that thin cord is so powerful. You could also scan the cord in your mind's eye all the way from your body in your imagination all the way down to where it's wrapped securely to the center of the earth, and give it a little quality assurance check. Is there any place that is a little frayed? Is there anywhere it's loose in the knot at the center of the earth? Is there anything about the cord that you need to repair? And all repair means is just identifying it in your mind's eye, and instantly it is repaired. And then as you stay with this vision of, this picture of your cord, you might just imagine giving it a tug just to make sure it's really secure in the center of the earth. And if that feels loose or if that feels shaky, do whatever you need to do in your imagination to make sure that it really feels secure. It's not going anywhere. You are tethered. You are safe. You are connected. So pausing here and just noticing the effects of that image. And if the image is challenging to connect with, if you're like, I want to imagine the cord and I just can't, it's totally okay. That's really common. Visualization is kind of like a muscle and it'll get stronger as you practice it. Also, if you're not particularly a visual person, if you're more of an auditory person or kinesthetic, that can make it more challenging too. So if this isn't happening for you, there's nothing wrong with you. You might connect with the feeling at the base of your pelvis and just a strong kind of feeling of downward. Or you could even draw a picture later. You could do some pressing like we've done in the past, just to feel that down energy, that grounding energy. And if the cord idea is feeling like, oh, I can see that, I can imagine that, and it feels secure, and you've kind of run the length of the cord and everything feels good, just notice if there's an effect from that imagining, that image. Grounding cords are often used just in this simple way to help us feel tethered. They are also used to help release excess, just like a grounding electrical cord. So, if there is anything that you're kind of off gassing this morning, if you're letting go of, if you just want to release from your energetic body any kind of excess, you can just send it down the cord. The cord is this very alive, pulsing, maybe even a little sparkly as it flows through, open channel. Again, much like an umbilical cord is this life source exchange, so is this cord. So you can release whatever you want and send it into that fiery center of the earth for compost, for ash. And then, just like roots of a tree, or just like the umbilical cord feeds the baby, you receive back up through the cord fortification or compassion or a sense of stability, calm, strength, whatever qualities would serve you in this moment. Just feeling your breath. This might be simply a mental picture with not a lot of real corresponding physical impact or sensation or felt sense. This might be nothing. It's like, I got nothing. I just can't see it. Or it might be like, yes, maybe I've done this before. Maybe this is a practice of mine. I see it. I feel it. This is amazing. And any of those things, that's all welcome. Whatever is here today is welcome. For these remaining minutes, I'd like to take this cord idea and expand it out even a little bit more so that rather than this one cord coming from, we actually imagine this more from around the waist, like a hoop skirt. You know, those big kind of Gone with the Wind hoop skirts. So again, as just an extension of you, as part of your energetic body. So from your waist, hoop skirting out wide, and you can make your hoop skirt as wide, as big as you want. And then that's the range of energetic protection and connection that goes down. And it can again be just a really big cord, or it could stay this really big kind of hoop down through the ground, down into the earth, effortlessly, all the way down. And that wraps itself around this very secure center of earth. So if one or the other image is easier to work with, then that's what I invite you to stay with for this remaining time. Like an umbilical cord connection or a bigger kind of hoop skirt. And this idea of exchange, of reciprocity, fluid, and so loving. So, whatever you need to release, you just send out any excess. And whatever you need to receive is just there. It is just freely and immediately available. If you find yourself working really hard to create any of these images, let the effort go. You don't have to work so hard for it. If it helps to picture actual roots, like roots of a plant or roots of a tree, you could do that. Knowing that, like roots of a tree, trees in a forest, trees that are somewhat near each other, those roots stretch down, but they stretch wide, and they sort of finger around and find each other. And then they kind of they connect, they interlock, they hold hands, they communicate underground in this amazing unseen network. And in the same way, each of our grounding cords going down all the way to the center, they're wrapping around, however we're picturing that. It's happening for all of us, at least right now, energetically in our minds. And so in that way, here we are touching, connected, interlacing, woven together. So allowing yourself to feel or imagine that quality as well. You can use your grounding cord anytime. You can remember your grounding cord as a way to help you feel more on the ground, more tethered, more connected, as a way to have that reciprocity of anything you need to release, anything you need to bring in, and also to help remember our connectedness, not only our earth bodies to the actual earth, but all of our earth bodies also together. Thank you so much for being here this morning and for sharing. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and feedback. I am going to read all of this. Thank you. And we'll be together tomorrow morning, 7:30, and then we'll sit together on Friday. And we'll have another tool. So, let me know if you have other thoughts. But thanks so much for being here. I'd love to hear how your grounding cord visualization was, especially if it's new. Again, it can just be kind of different. So, would love to hear.